You did not arrive at this moment by accident. Something in your spirit has been carrying a quiet battle that other people could not see. You have smiled while your heart was tired, served while your strength felt thin, and kept moving when the road ahead looked uncertain. But this day can become a marker of remembrance for you, a moment when you stop calling yourself defeated because the process has been difficult. God has not abandoned the work He began in you. The pressure you survived did not erase your calling. It revealed the places where your faith was becoming stronger. If you have felt set apart, misunderstood, delayed, or tested, let this be a reminder that God still sees every step you have taken in obedience. The journey in the call of the chosen, a 30-day journey, can help you recognize the season you are living through and find language for the faith you have been trying to hold on to. It is not about pretending every question has an easy answer. It is about learning to stand with clarity when your emotions are loud. If this speaks to the place where you are today, you can find it through the pinned comment. Do not rush past this moment as though it were ordinary. Let your heart become still enough to hear what fear has been trying to drown out. You are not being asked to manufacture a victory. You are being invited to receive the courage to walk in what God is already forming. There are seasons when victory does not look like applause, open doors, or instant relief. Sometimes victory looks like waking up with a burden and still choosing to pray. Sometimes it looks like refusing to return to the relationship, habit, bitterness, or fear that once controlled your decisions. Sometimes victory is the strength to say no when your old self would have said yes, just to avoid rejection. You may have expected your breakthrough to arrive with thunder, but God often builds it in the hidden places where nobody claps for you. He teaches your hands to remain steady. He teaches your heart to wait without becoming bitter. He teaches your mind to reject the lie that delay means denial. You have been learning more than you realize. Every time you chose truth over panic, you took ground. Every time you released attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuzazara readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. What you could not control, you made room for peace. Every time you returned to God after disappointment, you proved that the battle had not taken your faith. Your victory is not defined by what people can measure. It is defined by the faithful work of God within you. You may be carrying memories of moments when you thought you had lost everything. You remember the message that changed your mood, the silence that followed your prayer, the door that closed without explanation. You remember how deeply you hoped and how confusing it felt when the answer did not come in the form you expected. But God is not limited by the chapter you thought should have ended differently. He can redeem what wounded you without calling the wound good. He can restore your ability to trust without asking you to deny what hurt. He can lead you forward without making you forget the road behind you. You do not need to force a false smile to prove that you have faith. Bring your honest heart to God. Tell him where you are disappointed. Tell him where you are afraid to hope again. Tell him where you have become tired of being strong. The Father is not intimidated by your truth. He meets you in it, and he begins to rebuild you from the inside out. Today, do not confuse exhaustion with failure. You may be tired because you have been carrying responsibilities that were never meant to be held alone. You may be discouraged because you have been measuring your life against someone else's visible results. You may feel late because you are comparing your hidden preparation with another person's public moment. But your path is not a copy of anyone else's path. God knows the work required to shape your character, your discernment, and your capacity. What appears slow may be protection. What feels like silence may be preparation. What seems like a closed road may be God keeping you from a destination that would have cost you more than you knew. Release the demand to understand every detail before you take the next faithful step. You do not need a complete map to obey the light you have been given. Take the step that is in front of you. Pray the prayer that is in your heart. Choose the truth that brings peace. God can guide a willing heart. There is a difference between waiting passively and waiting with faith. Passive waiting says, nothing matters until circumstances change. Faithful waiting says, God is still working, so I will keep becoming ready. You do not have to put your calling on hold because the outcome is not visible yet. There are things you can strengthen right now: your prayer life, your boundaries, your discipline, your honesty, and your willingness to forgive. These are not small things. They are evidence that you are preparing to carry what you have been asking God to release. The call of the chosen, a 30-day journey, was created for the person who knows there is more ahead, but needs a practical rhythm for hearing God above distraction, anxiety, and spiritual fatigue. It can help you turn scattered thoughts into intentional reflection and move from vague hope toward faithful action. If you are ready to meet this season with greater clarity, access it through the pinned comment. You do not have to remain lost in the same cycle. God can teach you how to move differently. He can make your waiting meaningful. He can make your next yes stronger than the last disappointment. Do not let one hard season convince you that your future has been cancelled. The enemy of your peace often speaks in absolute words. It says always, never, too late, not enough, and impossible. But God speaks with truth, and truth makes room for redemption. What you have lost may matter deeply, but it does not have to become the final definition of your life. What failed may have taught you something that success could never have revealed. What broke your heart may become the place where compassion grows. What humbled you may become the place where wisdom begins. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still able to pray. You are still able to choose again. That means the story is still moving. Do not surrender your imagination to the worst thing that happened to you. Let God show you that the future is not empty simply because it is unfamiliar. He can fill unfamiliar ground with purpose, direction, and unexpected grace. There are people who will only understand the version of you that they first met. They may expect you to keep reacting the same way, doubting the same way, settling the same way, and shrinking the same way, but you are allowed to grow beyond their expectations. You are allowed to become quieter without becoming weak. You are allowed to become more discerning without becoming cold. You are allowed to protect your peace without apologizing for every boundary. God is not calling you to perform your healing for people who benefited from your pain. He is calling you to walk honestly before Him. Your transformation may make some people uncomfortable because it changes the access they once had to your fear. Let them misunderstand if they must. You cannot build the life God is leading you into while constantly returning to explain why you left the old one. Stay humble, but stay moving. Stay kind, but stay clear. Stay open to God, but do not reopen doors He has already closed for your protection. You have carried enough guilt for choices you made while trying to survive. Yes, learn from what happened. Yes, take responsibility where responsibility belongs. Yes, make things right where you can, but do not keep punishing yourself after God has already offered you mercy. Shame says, you are your worst decision. Grace says, you are a beloved person who can be changed, forgiven, and restored. Your past may explain some of your pain, but it does not have authority to command your future. God is able to use even the places where you were immature, confused, or afraid. He does not celebrate your mistakes, but He does not waste your surrender. Bring Him the pieces you wish were different. Bring Him the years you cannot retrieve. Bring Him the words you wish you had not spoken. He is not asking you to become your own savior. He is asking you to receive His grace and walk forward with a heart that is willing to be made new. You may not see every sign you have been hoping for, but you can see the evidence of God's sustaining hand. You are still standing after moments that should have crushed you. You still have a desire for truth after disappointment tried to harden you. You still feel the pull toward prayer after silence tempted you to walk away. These are not meaningless details. They are signs of life in your spirit. The God who kept you through the night can guide you through the morning. The God who heard your cry when nobody else knew you were crying can meet you in the decision you are facing now. You do not need to demand a dramatic answer before you trust Him. Sometimes faith begins with one simple declaration. I will not let fear have the final word today. Say it again if you need to. Let it become the posture of your heart. You belong to God before you belong to your anxiety, your history, or other people's opinions. Your victory may begin with the decision to stop agreeing with every fearful thought that enters your mind. Not every thought deserves a seat at your table. Not every feeling is a prophecy. Not every delay is a warning. Learn to pause before you believe the worst. Ask yourself whether the thought before you leads you toward faith, wisdom, peace, and action, or whether it only pushes you deeper into panic. God does not lead you through confusion that steals your ability to love, obey, and think clearly. He may stretch you, but He will also steady you. He may call you into unfamiliar places, but He will not abandon you there. You can take possession of peace before you take possession of an outcome. You can take possession of courage before you see the whole road. You can take possession of obedience before every circumstance agrees with you. That is not denial. That is faith becoming practical in the middle of real life. If you are standing at a crossroads, do not let urgency force you into a decision that peace has not confirmed. Sometimes the desire to escape discomfort can sound like direction. Sometimes loneliness can sound like love. Sometimes pressure can sound like opportunity, but God can give you discernment when you slow down enough to listen. Ask Him what is true beneath the noise. Ask Him what you are trying to avoid. Ask Him whether the door in front of you brings you closer to integrity or farther away from it. The call of the chosen. A 30-day journey offers a focused way to examine your season, confront the patterns that keep you stuck, and build a daily response rooted in faith rather than impulse. It is for the moment when you know you cannot keep repeating the same internal battle and expect a different future. Let this be an immediate next step toward clarity, not just another inspirational thought you forget tomorrow. You can access it through the pinned comment. God is not trying to confuse you. He is teaching you to recognize His peace and to trust the wisdom He places within a surrendered heart. Today can be a day of possession, not because you control every outcome, but because you choose what belongs to you in God. Peace belongs to you when chaos tries to rule your thoughts. Wisdom belongs to you when confusion tries to make you impulsive. Courage belongs to you when fear tells you to hide. Grace belongs to you when shame says you must remain condemned. Purpose belongs to you when comparison says your life has no meaning. You do not have to wait for perfect conditions to receive these gifts. Open your heart now. Let God replace the language of defeat with the language of faith. Let him remind you that your identity is not hanging on the approval of people, the timing of a promise, or the size of your visible results. You are held by a faithful God. You are being shaped by a patient God. You are being led by a wise God. What he is doing in you has more depth than the surface of your circumstances can reveal. There is a sacred strength that develops when you stop running from the hard questions. Why did this happen? What is this season teaching me? Where have I been giving fear too much authority? What have I been calling wisdom when it was really avoidance? God is not offended by your questions when they lead you closer to him. He can handle your uncertainty. He can meet you at the edge of your understanding. He can show you the next step, even if he does not show you every step after it. You do not need to solve your whole life tonight. You only need to surrender today. Make room for one honest prayer. Make room for one obedient choice. Make room for one release of the burden you keep carrying alone. Small acts of faith become strong foundations over time. The person you are becoming is built through these quiet decisions, and God sees every one of them. You have been chosen not for a life without battles, but for a life where battles do not get to define you. Being set apart does not mean every path will be easy. It means your life has a purpose that reaches beyond the pain of the moment. It means God can use your testimony to strengthen someone who feels as alone as you once felt. It means the lessons you learned in private can become wisdom that protects your future. Do not despise the season that taught you how to pray with honesty. Do not hate the season that exposed what needed healing. Do not reject the season that taught you to depend on God rather than appearances. Every hard place is not sent by God, but God can meet you in every hard place. He can turn your survival into compassion. He can turn your tears into discernment. He can turn your surrender into a new beginning that is deeper than the beginning you once imagined. You may be tempted to think that because the promise has taken time, you are no longer qualified to believe for it. But waiting does not disqualify you. The years have not removed God's ability to surprise you. Your age, your past, your mistakes, your location, and your limited resources are not stronger than the wisdom of God. He is able to create a path where you only see a wall. He is able to send help from directions you did not consider. He is able to teach you how to use what is already in your hands. Stop calling yourself empty when God has placed gifts, lessons, endurance, and compassion within you. You may not have everything you need for the entire journey, but you can have what you need for the next faithful step. Ask God to show you what is already available. Ask Him to sharpen your eyes. Ask Him to renew your willingness. A new chapter often begins when you recognize that God has not left you without provision. Imagine your life as a field that has endured a long and difficult season. There were days when the sky seemed closed, when the soil looked dry, and when you wondered whether anything good could still grow there. Yet beneath the surface, seeds were still present. Roots were reaching farther than anyone could see. The ground was being prepared for a strength that shallow seasons could never produce. You may feel like that field today. You may see only the evidence of what has not yet bloomed. But God sees the hidden work. He sees the roots of endurance forming under your prayers. He sees the seeds of wisdom that were planted through your tears. He sees the soil of your heart becoming ready to receive new life. Do not judge the whole field by one dry morning. Do not abandon the place God is still tending. Stay present. Stay faithful. The season can change, and the hidden work can become visible. The field does not accuse itself when rain has not yet come. It remains open to the sky. It receives the light it is given. It holds the seeds entrusted to it. In the same way, you do not need to condemn yourself for being in a season of waiting. Remain open to God. Receive the strength He gives you today. Hold carefully the promises, values, and assignments He has placed in your heart. Some seeds require time because they are becoming more than a brief moment of growth. They are becoming a harvest, with roots strong enough to survive the next storm. You may want immediate proof, but God may be building lasting fruit. Let patience have its work in you. Let your prayer become deeper than a demand for instant answers. Let your obedience become steadier than your mood. You're not simply waiting for rain. You are becoming a field that can receive it without losing what has been planted. There are weeds that try to grow in every field. They are the thoughts that say you are forgotten, the habits that drain your strength, the voices that make you doubt your worth, and the bitterness that grows when pain is left unattended. You do not have to accept every weed as part of who you are. With God's help, you can pull up what has been choking your peace. You can name the pattern. You can set the boundary. You can forgive without pretending the wound never happened. You can release the need to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Clearing the field is not glamorous work, but it is holy work. It creates room for what God wants to grow. Do not be ashamed of the daily discipline it takes to protect your heart. A field produces differently when it is cared for consistently. Your soul does too. Let God show you what must go so that what is good can breathe again. The soil remembers every season, but it does not remain trapped in the last one. It can receive new seed after an old harvest ends. It can become fruitful again after a storm damages what once stood there. Your heart can also receive new beginnings. You are not required to live forever inside the emotional weather of a past loss. God can help you honor what happened without allowing it to imprison what comes next. Let yourself believe that joy can return. Let yourself believe that healthy love can exist. Let yourself believe that your prayer can rise again without fear of disappointment. This does not mean you become careless with your heart. It means you become wise enough to trust God with it. The field does not control the clouds, but it does remain ready. You cannot control every person, timeline, or result, but you can keep your heart available to the God who brings growth in His time. When rain finally touches a thirsty field, it does not need to announce itself loudly for the ground to know. The soil receives it. The seeds respond. Life begins to move beneath the surface before anyone sees green. In the same way, God may be refreshing you in ways that are not visible yet. A renewed desire to pray may be rain. A fresh boundary may be rain. A conversation that brings healing may be rain. A new understanding of your worth may be rain. Do not dismiss small signs of restoration because they are not dramatic enough. God often begins with what is quiet. He restores your inner life before He entrusts you with what others can see. Receive the rain of His presence without demanding that it immediately become a harvest. Let it soften what became hard. Let it nourish what became weak. Let it awaken the places in you that had stopped expecting anything good. The harvest does not appear because the field panics. It appears through a process of seed, soil, rain, light, patience, and faithful tending. Your life may not move according to the speed you desire, but it is not without purpose. You are learning how to tend what God has given you. Tend your thoughts with truth. Tend your body with rest. Tend your relationships with honesty. Tend your spiritual life with prayer and scripture. Tend your dreams with disciplined action rather than endless worry. This is how you take possession of the present moment. You do not wait helplessly for life to become different. You cooperate with God in the place where you are. The harvest may still be ahead, but faithfulness is already available. Choose it today. Let the field of your life become a place where hope is not merely spoken but cultivated. God can bring increase where you have remained willing to grow. Do not let the field become crowded with the expectations of people who do not understand what God is growing in you. Some people only value what they can see immediately. They may question why you are taking time, why you are becoming more careful, or why you are no longer available for every demand, but you do not owe everyone access to the process God is protecting. A seed is not weak because it is buried. It is positioned for growth. You may be in a hidden stage because your roots need space to deepen. Trust God with the unseen work. Trust Him when your progress does not look impressive to others. Trust Him when your faith requires you to walk quietly. The field is not trying to compete with another field. It is receiving its own measure of light, rain, and care. Release comparison. What God is cultivating in you will not look exactly like what He is cultivating in someone else. Your assignment is to stay faithful to the ground He gave you. Perhaps you have been standing over your field with fear, expecting only failure because failure has visited before. But fear is not a good farmer. It scatters seeds of doubt, neglects the gifts of the present, and calls every unfinished thing dead. Faith sees differently. Faith does not deny the dry places, but it refuses to call them permanent. Faith does not ignore the weeds, but it believes they can be removed. Faith does not pretend the storm was easy, but it trusts that the field can be restored. Let faith become the way you look at your life again. Look at yourself through the mercy of God. Look at your future through the wisdom of God. Look at your waiting through the patience of God. You are not standing in abandoned ground. You are standing in a place God can still touch. Keep tending, keep praying, keep believing that the field can bloom in ways you cannot yet imagine. Now let the image of the field settle into your heart, and remember that you are more than the season you are surviving. You are a person loved by God, guided by God, and invited to walk with God. The victory you need may not arrive as a single dramatic moment. It may unfold through a healed thought, a brave conversation, a closed door, a new discipline, a forgiven memory, or a peaceful decision. Do not despise those forms of victory. They are real. They are sacred. They are often the very places where your future begins to change. You do not need to know everything before you move forward. You only need to keep giving God your yes. He can lead you out of confusion one choice at a time. He can restore your confidence one prayer at a time. He can teach you to recognize the strength that has been growing within you. There is power in returning to the truth when your feelings begin to wander. Tell yourself that God has been faithful before. Tell yourself that you have survived days you thought would destroy you. Tell yourself that you are not alone in the decision you are facing. Tell yourself that peace is possible even before the answer arrives. Tell yourself that your life is not a mistake because the path has been difficult. Your mind may need repetition because fear has repeated its lies for a long time. Replace those lies with the promises of God. Let truth become familiar in your inner world. You may have to choose it again tomorrow. Choose it anyway. You may have to choose it in the middle of tears. Choose it anyway. Faith is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet refusal to let despair decide who you are. God honors the heart that keeps turning toward Him. You are allowed to release the pressure of having to prove that you are strong. God does not love you more when you hide your need. He does not draw near only when you have perfect words and perfect faith. Come honestly. Come tired if you are tired. Come uncertain if you are uncertain. Come with the questions you have been afraid to say aloud. The Father already knows, and His mercy is not fragile. He can meet you in the place where you feel weakest and show you that weakness is not the end of your story. It can become the doorway to deeper dependence on Him. Let your prayer be simple if it needs to be simple. Ask for help. Ask for wisdom. Ask for strength to make the next right choice. God hears the prayer of the heart that wants to remain close, even when it does not know what to say. Do not return to the chains God has been teaching you to leave behind. Familiar pain can feel, say, Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuzazuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.